What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Post to Post podcast. This week's episode is episode 92. We got a big one for you. My co-host Matt Small with me as usual here. We got trades, we got signs, we got news, we got everything you could ever ask for this episode. We got a website, buy some merch, posttopostpod.com. What's going on, Matt?
You nailed it. Everything we want to talk about tonight. We got this, that, the other thing, the website. We're ready to go already.
We got a lot of stuff here.
We got a lot of stuff going on. Very different compared to last week. But then again, last week it was just very quick, whereas we had a whole almost week and a half before our last recording to today. So plenty of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Let's get it started off with a trade here. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
The Vancouver Canucks have acquired defenseman Ethan Bear and center Lane Peterson from the Carolina Hurricanes in exchange for a fifth-round pick in 2023, and the Hurricanes will also retain $400,000 of Bear's salary.
Wow. Literally comes right after I did the Vancouver Canucks breakdown, where I was like, they need to do something quick, and this is either, I think this is the day after, or the second day after they announced this trade. I was like, see? They're moving up. They're doing something.
I like it a lot. I think that Carolina got overly heavy on defense, so moving on from Bear for them isn't the worst thing in the world. Though I would have liked to see him in their lineup and play a full season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Vancouver is a great place for him to land, team wise and market wise.
Yeah.
But I think that at the end of the day, he's going to be an added benefit to the Vancouver Canucks. I also like to see Lane Peterson coming on over to the Vancouver Canucks. I like him a lot as a prospect. I think he's going to be turn out to be something very nice. And I mean, you're only giving away a fifth-round pick, and Carolina's taking $400K off the top for you. So
yeah,
I think the Vancouver Canucks went out big time here.
Oh yeah, 100%. Ethan Bear seems to not be able to find his place. He was with the Oilers, got left from there, went to the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't think he was on the Carolina Hurricanes that long, and now he's going to the Vancouver Canucks. So kind of bouncing around a bit till he finds a home, and maybe Vancouver's the home for Ethan Bear here.
Yeah, let's hope so. I'm going to bounce around a little bit here. Vancouver Canucks actually went on to get their first win and then some. The team is now 3-6-2 this week. After last week, I decided to say they wouldn't get a win throughout the entire weekend, so they told me to go fuck myself after my post-to-post pick. Their first win of the season was actually Bruce Boudreau's 600th win as well. And the Penthouse Strip Club in Vancouver kept their words and changed the sign out front to read, Canucks drink for free, bottoms up.
That's awesome.
So 3-6-2. They're turning it around slowly but surely, righting the ship. I think that the team has a lot of work to do, but I don't think they should call it quits on the season after, 10, 11 games.
No, not at all. You're just having an incredibly rough start. But the best thing to do is to make some moves here and, try to get yourself back on your feet and going. I think these wins are helping them out. I think that first win really helped them out. It got them kind of back on their feet a bit. I think the second game after that first initial win, there was another win. So getting the fire started under everyone's skates there. So maybe Vancouver could turn it around just a little bit. There's still plenty of games left in this season for them to turn it around.
They got the monkey off the back with the first win, and I think that the division they're in, there's a lot of opportunity and potential to move up and down the ladder pretty easily. So if they can, get a couple win streaks going across the season, they can climb up pretty quick, I think.
Yep. Especially in the Pacific.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We did have a few signs here, a couple small ones. The Dallas Stars have signed Matt Murray, no, not Matt Murray, to a one-year deal worth $750K. He is a rookie, I want to say, that they just signed to a $750K contract, a little prospect, a different Matt Murray than the one that's currently in Toronto. He played 5 games for the Texas Stars this season, going 2-2 with a 2.0 GAA and a .926 save percentage, so not too shabby.
Yeah, so this year was his second year with the Texas Stars after coming from Hockey East here. He played for UMass Amherst for 5 years, so coming over. Our listener Instagrammed me and told me about Matt Murray, and I was like, dude, Matt Murray's out injured. And he goes, nope, this is the Texas Star Matt Murray. I was like, holy shit, there's another one. Let's not get confused with that.
And UMass Amherst, not a bad hockey program to be coming out of. I believe Jonathan Quick came out of there, too.
Yep, nailed it.
Then the Calgary Flames signed forward Lucas Siona to a 3-year, $2.75 million contract, $925K AAV. Don't have too much on him here.
It's still funny that Flames are still signing people. Like, of all the huge signs that they have, I'm like, how do you still have money?
Yeah, $925K isn't too much, though. I mean, it's under $1 million for the year.
Yep.
Should be all right.
Just my thought.
And then we did have an announcement for a retirement this season. Devin Dubnyk has announced his retirement from hockey at the age of 36 after 12 NHL seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He played 542 games between the Oilers, Predators, Coyotes, Wild, Sharks, and Avalanche with a career .261 and .914 save percentage.
Nice. Good man.
Not too shabby. I didn't expect him to be this old. I kind of thought that he would be kicking around for a little bit longer here.
Yeah.
Because, the career stats are pretty good, .261 and a .914. Yeah. He was definitely a solid goaltender. It kind of stinks that he could never get over the hump with Minnesota or any of the other teams, but I was always pushing for this guy. I did like him as a player, but
I love Doobie. I thought his home was in Minnesota for forever, but apparently not. But everyone loves Doobie. Everyone likes him. But he had a rough time this season. Was it last season? He was playing for the Charlotte Checkers, and his stats were not good whatsoever.
It's tough being down in the minors.
Yeah, and I think at his age, he's like it might be time to hang him up. So
especially for a guy that's vetted like that to be having to travel on buses and shit, maybe I'm done with this, you know?
Right, exactly. So congratulations to Devin Dubnyk. You had a long career here, 12 seasons. So good for you. Good for you. I don't know. I got not much to say on that. Just unfortunate, you can't find the Stanley Cup or something like that. But it happens to so many different players that you have a long, long career, no cup, But it do be like that sometimes.
Do, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot better goaltenders that have had a longer, better NHL career that went home with no cup too. So That's not a knock on him for not getting the cup done,
Nope.
We do have some injury updates for a few teams around the league. Anaheim's going to be missing Jamie Drysdale for the next 4 to 6 months with a torn labrum, which is a pretty big loss for a team that is not doing too well out west. They're currently last in their division, 3-7-1. I'm not really sure what's going on with that team.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like the pieces aren't clicking like they were last season, and I would just say that they're not consistent at the end of the day.
No, they have 3 injuries right now. I think Urho Vakanen's one of them, and I think they have 3 injuries. I know that much, but I don't know if they're affecting them that much, or just the team is just not doing well, just in general. Just bad luck all around. We were just watching that Silfverberg just scoring his own goalie. Stola's there. Sometimes just it's just bad luck after bad luck.
Yeah, I also think it's really a spotlight on the defense here. Klingberg should be doing better than he is. You need to have a better blue line in general. Their goal differential is -21 on the season so far. I just think that at the end of the day, this team last season was very streaky, and this year they can't get the tires kicking to get a couple wins in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move over to the Washington Capitals here. They had to place TJ Oshie, Beck Malenstein, and John Carlson on IR. And because of adding those 3 players to the IR, Connor Brown had to be moved to LTIR, and he's likely done for the season after undergoing a successful ACL surgery.
Glad it's successful. Not glad he's not coming back.
Yeah.
They are missing a bunch of guys. TJ Oshie's a big one. John Carlson was day-to-day, but I guess he's on IR. So John Carlson and TJ Oshie need to come back to the Caps. But then again, you also have Ovechkin just, hanging around there. Kuznetsov, I think they're all right.
Yeah, they're 5-5-2. I'd say that's less than all right for Washington standards.
Yeah.
Missing those guys is definitely big. It kind of seems like we can't really get full word on TJ Oshie, but it kind of seems like it's going to be more than a couple weeks thing.
Mm-hmm.
And John Carlson, hopefully he'll be back a little sooner than him.
Yeah.
But they need something there as well. They're just not impressing anyone. But you know who is impressing me, surprisingly?
Who?
The New Jersey Devils out of nowhere, 8-3, top of their division, ahead of the Hurricanes, Islanders, Rangers. They're at the top of their division, and it's just baffling to me.
Nuts.
For seemingly no reason.
Yep.
There was a great play by Miles Wood the other day. He wins a puck, and he's battling Juracek all the way back to his own net and ends up burying it on the backhand. Great puck protection.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to spotlight that one real quick. I thought that he's been playing really well for the team.
Yeah. Moving on from Washington, though, another team that surprised me. I don't know about you, but the Boston Bruins first. Are they still first in the league, by the way?
I believe
Last
they
time I
are,
looked,
because
they were.
Vegas is 8-3. Oh, no, the Devils are 8-3-0.
Mm-hmm.
The Bruins are 10-1, and Vegas is 10-2.
Oof.
So they're technically tied for first, I believe.
Did not expect this from the Boston Bruins at all to be as good as they are, especially Linus Ullmark being one of the top goalies in the league. The team just all around is just impressing the shit out of me. And they went out. So Jeremy Swayman and Derek Forbort are both week to week with injuries for the Boston Bruins, but I don't know. Swayman didn't play much. They can definitely rely on Linus Allmark to get the job done, and Derek Forbort, they'll figure it out. So
Yeah, but if Swayman's out for at least a week, you're not going to play Allmark 3 or 6 games in a row. You're going to have to rely on a backup, and you're definitely going to start to lose a couple games here and
So
there.
what was that post picks with Keith Kincaid?
If he would play an NHL game this season.
Ooh, that might be
Could be an option
could
here.
be an option here.
But I believe there was something that happened earlier this season that knocked that out for us. Didn't he get traded, or did he retire or something? I forget what it was.
Oh man,
Right? Didn't something happen that just washed that trade for us? We'll see.
yeah.
But anyways, the Boston Bruins 10-1 to start the season. It's insane. Brad Marchand makes his return ahead of schedule. 2 goals, 1 assist. Just classic Brad Marchand status, coming back out of the blue. I think the team kind of, strung the league along a little bit and said that he would be back later than he was on schedule to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he returns, it's kind of this big shebang, big surprise kind of thing. So,
Yeah, Keith Kincaid was called up. I don't know if he might have been injured for a bit, but then came back. But he was called up to back up Linus Allmark. So
oh, nice.
I don't know which one of us said he wasn't playing, but one of us is going to be brutally wrong.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's it for some injuries here. I still think out of the injuries going on, I think Washington. Anaheim might be hurting the most here, but we'll see what happens. Want to get into some NHL news?
Yeah, let's do it. I do want to start with my breakdown of the Minnesota Wild versus Ottawa Senators game from October 27th.
Mm-hmm.
One of my circled games on the calendar to watch, so you guys can make me an Ottawa Senators fan over time.
I got the hat waiting. There's a fan that commented and be like, "Where's Chris's hat?" I'm like, "Don't worry, it's coming."
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
I got to get a hat?
Yep.
That's hilarious. Okay.
You're gonna wear it.
The Senators are 4-6-0 at the bottom of their division, sadly. They don't have a bad goal differential, though. They are +1 as the worst team in the division. And I mean, to be the last team in the division and be 4-6, that's really not all that bad. That's pretty decent, of a record for a last place team.
Right.
But yeah, let's just jump right into it here. 8 seconds into the game, both teams decide to start their fourth lines. Brandon Duhaime and Austin Watson drop the gloves immediately. It was just kind of a gong show to begin with. I didn't really understand why they needed to set the tone like that with a team like Minnesota.
Yeah, that was weird to me, but it did. I don't know. It was weird to me because I remember watching the game before we recorded, or
it was starting while we recorded last week.
And I remember the announcers. I didn't really pay attention to it, but the announcers were like, "Ottawa starting their fourth line on the face-off." I'm like, "What?" As soon as they dropped it, there was a fight. It was Duhaime, and I was like, "Holy shit, here we go."
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I understand starting your fourth line, so you throw off the matchups and you get their first line against your fourth, short shift them, and then you get a little bit of your first line against their second. You just throw it off that little bit. But they did kind of get into a little entanglement with their sticks and just kind of said a little fuck you to each other and got it going. But shortly after that, DeBrincat scores the first goal of the game. Under 4 minutes in, it was a great puck retrieval in the offensive zone the whole time. They just maintained possession down there. The puck started bouncing around a little bit, and DeBrincat just found it right in the high slot, rips it past unsuspecting Marc-Andre Fleury, beating his old teammate from Chicago right over the shoulder. It was a really nice shot. The final score ends up being 4-2. I just want to touch on this real quick. Fleury was 27 for 29 with a .931 save percentage, and I want to say that this is the point where Fleury started to turn his season around. I think that he might have been one of the NHL's stars of the week, maybe, or something like that. He was highlighted for having really good stats at one point. And then Forsberg went 36 for 39, a .923 save percentage. So a really good goaltending battle here. I think at the end of the day, power play is really what it comes down to. Ottawa's penalty kill has not been great. Heading into this game, they are 24th in the league, and I believe they did get scored on once, maybe twice on the power play. Even after that first goal, too, Tkachuk and Matt Dumba end up going at it. They ended up getting a good fight going because I want to say Dumba ran Stützle over, heading into the offensive zone.
Brady Tkachuk shocked me with that fight, and I was like, whoa, because he got Dumba twice, good hits. I was like,
Dumba's a big boy, too.
yeah.
And then shortly after that, Kaprizov ends up tipping in a great blue line shot to give the Wild a 2-1 lead. Another guy I wanted to highlight here, Ryan Hartman. He had an awesome set play. It was a goal right off the faceoff, and Ottawa was just not fast getting set up there, so that puts them down 3-1, And that's a pretty decent hole to dig yourself out of, especially, early on like that. So in the third period, this was kind of nuts here. 5-on-3, Ottawa's on the power play, and they bring the game within 1 goal. And from there on, like, it's a 3-2 game, and there was just back and forth great saves from Fleury. We saw a bunch of highlights of that. Forsberg had some great saves down low. But at the end of the game, like, just a lapse in judgment by Chabot here on Ottawa. They're on the power play. It's probably 2 minutes left in the game. They pull their goalie, so they got a 6-on-4, win the face-off, and then immediately bobble the puck at the blue line. And Chabot turns it over to Gaudreau, and he scores a shorthanded empty netter. And it was just a tough way for me to see a great game end, you know?
Yeah, right.
Like, they had 2 minutes of power play time, basically, that they could have used to try and tie the game up. But just kind of a shit bounce. A bad idea being last back and doing that, you know?
It happens. It's all right, though. It's all right. Fine.
But, yeah.
Boys are looking good. Can I actually? I have this on the bottom of our list, but since we're talking about Marc-Andre Fleury, can I throw
go for it.
Fleury action in for you? So Marc-Andre Fleury got a shootout win this Sunday. With that, he set the NHL record for most career shootout wins as a goalie. He surpassed Henrik Lundqvist by notching his 62nd shootout win over his last team, the Chicago Blackhawks. So I kind of went down. I was like, when did the shootout even start? And so this is when the NHL had shootouts. October 5th, 2005 was the NHL's first shootout to decide a game. It was between the Ottawa Senators and Maple Leafs. The Senators won the game 3-2 with 2 goals in the shootout scored by Daniel Alfredson and Danny Heatley on Leafs goalie Ed Belfour.
What an all-star matchup for the first shootout in the NHL, too.
Right?
Alfredson, Heatley, Belfour. That's pretty nice.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool little stat there, too. And we're able to kind of twist the ties here with the Senators, too.
There you go, yeah.
Fleury. So it was nice.
Very nice.
Nice. Very nice.
With all the commotion last week of recording on a Thursday and me traveling down to Florida for an awesome Florida versus Georgia rivalry game, we forgot to mention Happy Halloween, I believe. I don't think we even talked about it, right?
I don't think we even talked about it, yeah. Flew by.
But I was just going to ask you, who do you think had the best costume on Halloween? I put a couple examples down here below.
Patches Houlihan.
Yeah, you like that?
Mika Zibanejad was Patches Houlihan from Dodgeball, and I was like, you nailed it.
I like that they took, like, most of the team out and all dressed up as the guys from Dodgeball. They got the wives and the girlfriends involved, too. I thought it was pretty cool. My personal favorite was Jesse Pugliarvi and his girlfriend dressed up as Darla and Nemo, and his girlfriend was even in, like, a plastic bag. It was so funny.
It's cool to see a bunch of the NHL guys like really getting festive with the Halloween.
Yeah,
pretty cool to see.
Yeah, the Bruins did it pretty good too. Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona was Swayman, Clifton, and Ullmark. I thought that was hilarious. Whoever was Shrek I think it was Clifton. He was really good. He had like basically what looked like neck extenders. So he had like this wicked thick ogre neck, and I was like, that's hilarious, dude.
Shrek,
so good.
Can never go wrong with Shrek. But yeah, that's my go-to. As soon as I saw Mika Zibanejad as Patches Houlihan from Dodgeball, I was like, nope, I'm good. I don't need to see any more of this.
I love Zibanejad, man. One of my favorite players in the league, I think.
Just legend shit right there. So you liked what's his name from Finding Nemo there?
Yeah, Jesse Pugliarvi for sure.
Good man. That's my go-to. But let's see. We talked about the Vancouver Canucks here?
Yep.
Getting their first win. And I don't know. What else we got here? You threw in a few Arizona Coyotes stuff. Want to jump into that?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So the Arizona Coyotes gave out a mullet to all the fans in Mullet Arena for the first game versus the Winnipeg Jets, and that was fucking hilarious. Like I didn't know exactly what it was, and because when I was scrolling through Instagram, I saw the Arizona Coyotes put up a photo, and there's like all the seats and like it looks like a wig. I'm like, what the fuck is the wig for? And like later on that day, like I was seeing like videos of all the fans wearing like the mullets. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's really funny for them to do something like that. Very unique for the fans. I think they're just trying to make the best out of like the hand that they've been dealt here. So I thought it was good on them for doing that. But we do have some funny news here too. They've also announced their helmet sponsor for the season, and it's going to be Goodwill. And some jokes just seem to write themselves.
I feel like you can do whatever you want with this now. We just need to wait for the Goodwill to be on the helmets, and then just like the memes are just gonna flow. You know?
It's almost like no one wants to make them though, because it's like, oh, come on, you know what I mean?
Just feel bad at this point.
Yeah. But let's dive into the Seattle Kraken here real quick. Big topic around the league right now is Shane Wright.
Yep.
He was initially starting the season up with the NHL roster, only being given an average of 650 time on ice. He must be sitting on the bench fucking freezing. Like, I don't understand what the point is of having your young prospect player up to sit on the bench for, the other, whatever the math is, 53 minutes and 10 seconds a game,
Yeah.
like just to play 6 minutes of hockey.
Yeah.
So I feel like online fans were all going nuts about what are we doing here? Like, what is the plan? It seemed to be kind of resolved a little bit recently. The last game that Seattle played, he was given 13:45 time on ice versus Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
The main question is really, why is he not playing for the Kingston Frontenacs, which is in the CHL, it's the OHL. Shane Wright would be ineligible to play in the AHL due to the agreement between the NHL and the CHL, unlike many European players who are able to start off down in the AHL. So
Interesting.
basically, he either has to be in the N or in the O.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't get, like, I understand not wanting to send him down, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams now with young prospects that are starting up. But to start him up and not play him doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I remember reading something about the Seattle Kraken saying just like they want him to develop more, and they're having a difficult time doing that. But they were just talking about their setup. Like, they've been doing really good. I think, like, since they become a franchise, this is like the best they've done to start a season. So they want to mess with that. But
they've only been around for one season, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, I'm not wrong when I say that.
No, you're not wrong.
I'm also wrong. But
No, you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
They just would point that out.
It just, yeah.
Like, franchise record, best start to a season right now. Great. We were 5-5 last year. We're 6-4. Sick.
But they had someone get injured, and that's why they were just like, they slotted him in there with like Tanev and someone else. I can't remember what, and they still didn't give him like that many minutes.
Yeah, and people were pissed too, I guess, when the season first started. He was up and he was gonna play. His grandparents like flew over to see him play and shit, and they didn't end up playing him for 3 games straight, like healthy scratch. And people were all up in arms about that, but like, that's not why you play a guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't play a guy because he has family coming to visit. You
Right.
know. But my thing is, with a guy like Shane Wright, there's really not that many top draft picks that were drafted this year that are really like making an impact right now.
No,
The only one that I can think of is Slavkovsky,
I was just thinking that.
and he's doing okay,
Yeah.
but he's also with a team that's kind of in the same boat. Like, the Seattle Kraken and the Montreal Canadiens are very similar in terms of where they stand in the league. But I think there's more opportunity for a guy like Slavkovsky to get, one, the spotlight being in Montreal, which is why we think of him, and two, the opportunities because of the roster that's built around them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a weird comparison, but that's where I have to leave this conversation, I think.
Yeah. The whole draft thing didn't really help Shane Wright out at all either. Just like going from like first to like fourth.
And this is almost more negative news around him in a way, but it's not his fault, you know?
Not, yeah. It's just in a weird shit situation where the organization wants him to develop more, but can't.
I heard there's like a divide between GM and coach there too. Like, GM says do this, and coach says I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting.
Word
Yeah.
around the league.
I wonder if it's interesting. I'm sure throughout a bunch of different teams are probably doing the exact same thing because the coach.
It doesn't happen often because the GM usually assigns the coach.
Mm-hmm.
The GM, I believe, is new in Seattle, and like he didn't exactly pick this guy, kind of thing.
Oh.
I could be getting it mixed up with a different team, but basically, like, the coach isn't the GM's guy, and like the coach is trying to do things differently than the GM wants things done. So when the GM says we're not sending him to the O, the coach is like, fuck that, he should be in the O, I'm not playing him. You know what I mean? Something along those lines.
Yeah,
I'm
that
just
makes sense.
making things up in my head.
Yeah, just gotta say something loud enough, and people will believe it.
More confidence.
More
That's
confidence. Yep, there we go.
right. In Calgary, much like me on the podcast, Daryl Sutter was asked why Jonathan Huberdeau left the game versus the Oilers briefly, to which he replied, I think he had to go take a shit. Daryl Sutter does not fail, man. Like, how does he get away with this?
He's a legend.
He's
a farm guy, and we're just like, I don't know, this is how they talk on the farm.
Yeah, and like to say that to the media, like he should be getting fined, don't you think? Like he should be getting whacked with like at least $5,000 or something like that.
Something
by the league.
I guarantee you. I honestly guarantee you, Huberdeau and a bunch of other players would just pay it for him. You know?
Yeah, Huberdeau's probably like, "What the fuck, dude? No, I didn't have to go take a shit."
So I don't know. Just had to take a shit, maybe.
Speaking of fines and punishments, though, Dallas forward Ty Dellandrea was fined $2,333.33 on the dot for goalie interference on Igor Shesterkin. Did you end up seeing this play?
Yeah, I slew-footed him pretty good. He fell on his back. I thought Shesterkin was like out. The way he fell and the way he kind of like curled, I was like,
I think that the goalies have a little bit of eccentric flair in them.
Yeah.
Like,
selling it?
Yeah, I think that, players get bumped in the skate and they don't fall down the way goalies do. Like, a goalie gets bumped and they go flying, like the dramatics, the gloves in the fucking corner. Like, I don't know, the helmet flies off. Like,
I mean, we're not used to getting hit.
We aren't, but it's like at the same time, he's like a top tier athlete, one of the most fit people in the world. And this guy comes in and bumps him a little bit and now he's got to fall and flop and go nuts. I'm not saying that he entirely sold it, but just like goalies in general, when they get touched, they get bumped. They like try to do a little extra to get a call,
Yeah.
The fact that the guy gets fined too is kind of nuts. But he's also like an AHL prospect that's up for a couple games. I think he played 11 games last season, so it kind of makes sense too. Like the NHL has to protect their stars in that sense.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Where he plays for the Dallas Stars.
I don't know. I've fallen on my back before, and it hurts because your head slams against the ice. The mass and there's no protection on your back, so like you hit the ice on your back, like you hit it.
Yeah, but you get right up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, I feel like no matter what, like, you fell, 6 feet?
Yeah,
we're only like 6 feet tall. It's not that far down. I don't know.
I don't know.
We're not like old people in the shower slipping and falling. Like, you can just get right back up. And he's an athlete. I don't know. It's always weird, man. Seeing these goalies get run into and stuff.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not Shesterkin. I don't know if he felt wrong. I don't know if he's. But what if I don't know, to say that. What happens? Remember Lucic ran, was it Roberto Luongo or it was Ryan Miller for the Vancouver Canucks?
That's not him flopping.
No, it's not. But I'm like, we're just not used to getting hit, is what I'm saying. So when you get fucking hit, it's...
Why are you going there? That's not, you can't compare Lucic intentionally targeting
hit.
Ryan Miller's head to a slew foot in the crease.
Yeah, you're right.
But I do think there's a certain point to it, at the same time.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You got the fine. You got the call. We're good.
All right. Moving right along.
That's how good Shesterkin is. He can stop the puck and he gets you power play,
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yep. That's one way to spin it. You saw the Jack Eichel play by on the Vegas Golden Knights, right, in overtime?
Oh, my God, yeah.
You want to cover that for me? You can talk about it however you want. You don't need to read my words.
I'm just going to read it verbatim.
Great. There you go.
Yep. I know you want that.
No, I don't want that because I didn't type it out to be read verbatim, but
okay, that's fine. Yeah, so Jack Eichel in the overtime here versus Winnipeg Jets was just wild to me that he just kind of just circled the fucking offensive zone just like a fucking shark, because it was just him. He had passes that he could pass it to and make plays, but Eichel's like, nah, I'm just gonna figure this out. He looped around, went back up to the blue line, turned around, and just passed by all the Winnipeg Jets players, and then just circled around. Was it Hellebuck?
Yep.
And just tapped it in for the goal. It's how the fuck did you make that look so easy?
Just walked it out front, burns a defenseman. It was nuts.
Yep.
The play it reminded me of was the Cale Makar play from last year when he hits that. He's coming up the left wing boards, and he cuts back real quick, shakes the Chicago defenseman, makes a fake move, and backhands at Shelf on that tiny spot right up here.
Yep.
It was the same kind of thing like that, and I believe that was an overtime winner too. But this Jack Eichel, man, that play was nuts. Do you know how much time was left on the clock when that happened?
No.
20 seconds in overtime.
And he was like, I'm going to take my time.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna take care of this. We're not going to a fucking shootout. We're done.
That's wild.
I'm not passing anyone. I'm getting this done.
I forgot about the time. That's crazy. Wow. If there's more time, I could see why he'd be so wow. Wouldn't you think he'd be freaking out with 20 seconds left? I feel like you wouldn't take your time like you did.
Yeah, I mean, even to just think to yourself, we only have 20 seconds, I'm going to get it done. If I see 20 seconds on the clock as a player, I'm probably looking to pass 9 times out of 10, because if you can get that quick cross-crease pass, get that shot off, there's less opportunity for the goalie to save it, Because with 20 seconds, right, a goalie's thinking, let's call it 5 seconds, right? With 5 seconds on the clock, what do you think the guy's going to do? He's going to have to shoot. There's not a lot of time.
Yep.
So with that short amount of time, as a player, you would think I should pass it because the goalie's expecting me to shoot it, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would think he would be looking for, a cross-crease pass to get something done.
Interesting.
And he just, he burned that defenseman, walked out front. It was nuts.
Now, can you imagine if he did all that with like all the available passes and he failed completely, I think the team would be like, hey, buddy, like you have the fucking pass right
Hey, what
there.
the fuck are you doing?
Like we're pumping his tires now, but what if it didn't happen? We'd be like, this fucking Jack Eichel thought he was the one man team, you know?
The defenseman just stands him up and he just falls and the puck goes behind the net.
All right, Jack, cool. Sit
Take
down.
it easy there, Buffalo.
Take it easy, buddy.
All right.
Yeah, looking good. Jack Eichel looking like the guy they picked up, you know? But that surgery helped out. He's the Jack Eichel. No, what's crazy? Jack Eichel came from the Buffalo Sabres, right? And I guess they were just hurting at the time, but now the Buffalo Sabres actually, no, Vegas is better than the Buffalo Sabres currently, right?
They are, yes, because Vegas is tied for first. But the Sabres are second in their division, 7-3-0 to start the season. Goal differential of +15. Owen Power, I believe, got his first goal the other day. Jack Quinn got his first. Tage Thompson had 3 goals and 3 assists and an 8-3 win over Detroit. Like,
damn.
Tage Thompson is nasty for that team.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Tuck is slotting in nicely.
Rasmus Dahlin.
Owen Power's looking good on the blue line. Like, Craig Anderson and Eric Comrie. What the fuck? How?
Where did they come from?
Like, it's just, this can't happen. They can't go into the playoffs as the second seed.
No. That's fucking wild to me.
This league, dude. This fucking league. Do you want to hear who the last place teams are in every division?
Sure.
The Ottawa Senators are last in the Atlantic. Like, not a huge surprise, but kind of expected the Canadiens to be worse than them.
Yep.
The Blue Jackets are last in their division. Big surprise there with Johnny Gaudreau coming over, Patrick Laine signing. Thought they would be much better.
Mm-hmm.
The St. Louis Blues are last in their division, behind the Arizona Coyotes.
That's
3-6-0. Binnington off to a pretty tough start. Pretty shaky. We're gonna cover him later on, I'm pretty sure. And the Anaheim Ducks are last in their division. Not a big surprise there. I feel like that can flip-flop, but I kind of thought they were better than the Sharks and the Canucks.
Yeah.
So I just thought that, like, the shakeup and the strangeness in the league, Dallas is leading their division with a 7-3 record. Sabres second in their division. Devils leading their division. Like, it doesn't make sense right now.
Yep.
And last week, I would have understood it because it was a very small sample size.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're 10-plus games into the season for every team, so it's starting to, like, shape out a little bit, you know?
Yep, exactly. Like, teams are starting to get into the place they should be in, you know? But that's crazy that Seattle Kraken and Montreal Canadiens aren't. Although I call that the Montreal Canadiens would be on the rise here this season, but it's shocking to me that Seattle Kraken's kind of just moving up here. Where are they in the Pacific?
Canadiens are 5-5, which isn't a bad record, but they're technically 7th. And then the Kraken are 3rd in the Pacific with a 6-4 record.
Wow, holy shit!
Which is also kind of surprising.
Yeah,
but it's like, it's kind of nuts because 6-4 in that division is 3rd, but like, you go over east and it's like it could be 6th, it could be 4th. You know, It's weird.
Interesting. Yeah. So we want to get on to the next thing here, Chicago versus Edmonton?
Yeah, I got a pretty decent breakdown. I mean, I feel like I'm doing all the talking this episode, but I typed out a lot of notes for some of these things.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll take a break.
This was a pretty big situation. I don't know if you saw this clip or not. It's Evander Kane is in front of the net. Alex Stalock is in net for Chicago. Kane's obviously on the Oilers. And Seth Jones is covering him. So basically what happens here, there's goalie interference, and it's an overturned goal situation.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll have a clip right here for you guys so you can check it out too.
Yeah.
But basically Evander Kane gets pushed into the crease and onto Stalock by Seth Jones. And then shortly afterwards, Stalock gets up, makes a save, and Kane buries the rebound and scores a goal. Like, very quick, right? Initially on the ice, the refs call it a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And after they get together and reconvene, they confirm that the call on the ice will be no goal. So they called it a goal, but before telling, like, the guy right there was like, goal, right?
Goal, yep.
Then they reconvene. They're like, we can't call that a goal. So they say no goal. So now that it says we're saying it's no goal, Edmonton Oilers are going to have to challenge and say that it should be a goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge ends up failing, and it gets called no goal. Based on the clip below, like, I don't really understand it. So I think it should have been a good goal because, one, Kane is outside of the crease, and he's shoved into Stalock by Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see that as goalie interference to begin with.
Yep.
Stalock is then able to recover, right, and get back up.
Mm-hmm.
He's not able to pick up his stick, but he recovers enough that he makes a save at the top of the crease.
Yep.
The rebound goes right to Kane, and he scores the rebound.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see any reason, like a glaring reason, why this should be called no goal.
Mm-hmm.
For the main reason that he has time to reset, get set back up, make one save, and then a goal is scored, you know?
Right,
Because
exactly.
that kind of sets it back to, like, all right, he's now not been interfered with because he's set up, made a save.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't really know what they were thinking here.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember. I I watched that clip earlier this week, but I can't remember. Was it Evander Kane's foot in the way? Is that the clip?
It
right there?
basically, like, if I'm Staylock, Kane is here facing out, and Jones is facing in and pushes Kane right into Staylock. Staylock kind of folds backwards,
Yeah.
and then everybody kind of gets up, but Kane circles out and stays in the same general area. The puck goes to the point. Staylock drops. He doesn't have a stick, and he kicks the rebound to the left.
Yeah.
Kane's right there, buries it in the net, open net.
Oh, wow.
And the ref's in the low right corner and says it's a goal.
It's a good goal.
And then when they all reconvene, no goal, etc.
That's interesting.
But
yeah, that should be a goal.
that's what I think. I don't know. Maybe you take a look and make a little edit at the end if you think differently afterwards. But
yeah, definitely. Because I can't remember. I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember the play because we were kind of catching up on refreshing everything, and this is the one I did not look at.
And
so.
I think a big part of it is the fact that when they reconvene and change the initial call on the ice, now when the Oilers go to challenge, you need like evidence, like hard evidence that proves that the call should be overturned, basically. So if they said that initially it was a goal, and then they go to review and they it's much harder to change the call on the ice, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need like big evidence to say like, all right, we messed up. It has to be this, you know?
Right.
I think whichever way they called it on the ice, after the refs convened, they're not changing their minds, basically.
Right.
Is the way that I look at that.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't wait to rewatch it again and just have it. I know what you're talking about. It's just for some reason that second part where Kane scores is just kind of a blur to me. But the way you're saying it's just a fucking goal. Yeah, we'll have it down and then in edit I'll throw you my what I think up top.
There we go.
For you.
Perfect. Maybe you can just chop it in like right
just
here.
Chop it in. Yep. Exactly.
I talked earlier about Tage Thompson having an awesome night.
Mm-hmm.
We'll stick with Edmonton here for a second. These are just other guys that are having amazing starts to the season. This is nuts, dude. McDavid has 12 goals in 10 games, and McDavid and Draisaitl on the Oilers have combined for 43 points in just 10 games. It's fucking insane, dude. Like, they're just racking it up. It's just like there's not much more we can say. Like, every fucking season with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But Erik Karlsson on San Jose has taken my advice and stepped up in a big way. I said that once Burns is gone, like he's over to Carolina, Karlsson needs to step back up and be the guy that he was in Ottawa, and he's doing that this season. The last time an NHL defenseman had 10-plus goals in 13 games to start a season was back in 1937.
Good God.
So
that's time right there.
So he's feeling himself right now. I think he's doing pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Doing better than the Sharks are currently. They are 7th in their division, 3-8-2. But I really like to see a guy like him finally, set that contract right. Yes, he's burned a lot of years, and yes, they've overpaid for him. But at the time, I didn't see any issue with, San Jose paying what they did for him.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of seemed like a great move. It would have been awesome for them, but he fell apart a little bit, and now he's, making it right.
That's awesome. Good for him. We were just watching a interview with him, and he was messing with the was it TSN reporter.
Yeah.
And I can't remember last time I've seen Erik Karlsson talk, and just the way he talks, like, oh wow, you sound very different than you look. But then it was the interview where he turns around and tries to leave after talking shit, and the door's locked, and he goes, oh, I can't move.
Yeah. It almost reminded me of like the George Bush clip when he goes to leave after a press conference, and he goes to open the door, and it's just locked, and he just like stands there like, what the fuck?
But good for Erik Karlsson here. I think we're gonna be seeing like random players like come up. Like if you see like the top list for like defensemen, rookies, players, like there's different names there currently. So hopefully a different season, like different big names coming up here.
Yeah. Anyone else you wanted to shout out on either a good start to the season or a name that you think is performing well in that regard?
Bruins, Hampus Lindholm.
Yes, I love that. That's a great call out.
Yeah. Because last year they picked him up. Bruins really wanted him. They picked him up, signed him to a huge contract. Didn't really play much, and then this was the year he's going to be playing. And we're just like, all right, well, see what he can do. We're going to figure out why the hell they want him so much. And goddamn, he is really lighting him up for the Bruins, doing fantastic. The whole comeback with the Pittsburgh Penguins this week
that was nuts.
Unbelievable.
Were they down 5-2, and then they won in overtime?
And Hampus Lindholm getting that shit done after he had a little fuck up in the beginning of the game, but came back in a big way and won them the game with that huge comeback.
Yeah, last year he was like the real only big name defenseman, and I wouldn't even call him a big name. Nothing against him, but he's not one of those like star defensemen. I thought the contract number-wise was good, year-wise was good. Everything looked great.
Yeah.
And then he got injured in the playoffs, and the concussion took him out.
Yeah.
If we had him, I think things might have went differently. And I was just like, not disappointed, but like I was like, man, I hope this guy isn't like, concussion bitten, injury bitten now.
Right.
Because you see it at the start of this season, the production that he's putting up, the factor, the difference he's making with McAvoy out, Grzyk out. I just think that he's a great guy, and I was like very happy to see him join the team when we did get him. So
yeah.
That was a great call out. I like him.
Yeah, you nailed it with a big name, but also not a big name. Like, Hampus Lindholm, but you can't really compare it to like a Kale McCarr or Zdeno Chara or something like that. But man, he's putting that name on that list this year. So
for sure,
it's good to see him up there, And again with Linus Ullmark up there too. It was like, oof, wow. I remember. I think we were on the podcast when Bruins picked up Linus Ullmark, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, Linus Ullmark for, like, the Buffalo Sabres was, like, okay at best. I'm like, what the fuck? You got rid of, like, Dan Vladar and, Tuukka Rask.
Situation,
we didn't know the whole Tuukka Rask situation. Like, you had goalies, you had different goalies you could have chose from, and you chose Linus Ullmark, and fuck, he just... So your words made me eat my own hat.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't high on him to begin with. I was definitely one of the people that were like, why the hell did we get this guy?
Yeah.
A lot of people around here don't like him. He is definitely performing, way better than anyone expected.
Mm-hmm.
Our big issue when we first signed him was there are a lot better names that have gone before him. Why didn't we get them?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this team is one of those teams that, like, me and you like to bitch about the fact that no one gives a fuck about the goalies anymore. You can have whoever you want in net. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And this team is proving us wrong.
Yeah.
And you know who else is?
Who?
The Vegas Golden Knights.
Mm-hmm.
With Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill after telling Fleury to go fuck himself and Leonard's out injured.
Out injured.
It doesn't matter who you have in net if that team is that good in front of you almost. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes, there's the outliers of like, this goalie is fucking terrible. This goalie's a minor leaguer, et cetera.
Yep.
But like at a certain point, if the numbers are there and they're performing well, even if it's with a bad team, like they'll get the job done enough that you can get wins out of them.
Right. And to go back to your tandem there with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill, they have the best goalie tandem in the NHL currently, and the Vegas Golden Knights only paid $2.9 million for the both of them combined.
It's insane.
Isn't that nuts? So as of this week, as of our recording right now, Logan Thompson has played 7 games with a GAA of 1.73 and a save percentage of .938. Aiden Hill has played 4 games with a 1.72 GAA and a .940 save percentage. That is fucking wild when you look at those stats. Logan Thompson, Aiden Hill, both. I think when we talked about the Vegas Golden Knights, I talked about both of them being like solid, like backup tandem. And holy shit, have they proven us both wrong? And you're right, man. They just got rid of Fleury. Robin Leonard's fucking out. Who do they trade? Laurent Brossoit.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he supposed to start?
Mm-hmm. And you see a team like Darcy Kemper. Team like Colorado just moving on from their Stanley Cup winning goalie and Darcy Kemper.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. Just things that don't make sense. Grubauer, the season he had the year before Colorado won the Cup, and they just move on from him, let him go to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Since you were talking about $2.9 million for their goalie tandem, it made me think about how they're getting 2 goalies for a third of the price of a Carey Price, who's $10.5 million, right?
Yep.
He is currently still the highest paid active, in air quotes, NHL goalie because he's still getting paid. Second behind him is Bobrovsky, and third is Vasilevsky getting $9.5 million. And then from there's a massive drop-off that I never realized. Fourth highest paid goalie in the league makes $6.4 million in John Gibson. So
interesting.
You don't get paid a lot as a goalie, it seems, anymore. Like there was a time when you paid your franchise goalie to be your franchise goalie, and that's when they started escalating. Like, all right, we need to pay for like some great goaltending on the back end to build a team around.
Yep.
It worked for Tampa. It seems like it might work for Florida if they can get over the hump, and it would have worked for Montreal if there was more room, you know. But now I think that you can get away with it. If instead of paying Carey Price $10 million and paying your backup $750K, now you pay one guy $5 million and the other guy $3 million, and you're spending roughly the same amount and getting a 1A, 1B.
Yeah, Carey Price is probably one of the last goalies that, like, hey, we kind of wrapped our team around you. Like, we want you to be our guy. I think the whole curveball with what you said with goalies just leaving, I feel like it all started with Fleury leaving Pittsburgh Penguins. That was a massive shocker to me with Fleury leaving. And then
that probably was around the time when it started to get away from have your franchise goalie.
Other
than Tampa, like Tampa still has theirs in Vasilevsky.
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine Vasilevsky currently right now. I can't imagine Vasilevsky leaving the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's that would be like a Wayne
even
Gretzky type trade right there.
Even like Jonathan Quick at 5.8 too.
Yeah,
Like that's not all that much for a guy like him, you know.
no. And
But it's probably a newer contract after he already won his 3 cups, you know.
Cups, yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Quick. Yeah,
2 or
Quick
3
is a
cups,
franchise
whichever the fuck
goalie.
one
He
it was.
hasn't kind of moved around.
No, he hasn't moved around at all, right? He's only been
He's only been
LA.
with the LA Kings.
But he's on the way out. He's in that same group with Price and Fleury, I'd say. You know,
Yeah, I think it was gonna be
not play wise, just age wise. He's
age-wise.
on his way out
Yep,
eventually.
Yep. Interesting. I didn't realize there was such a big drop off. I know Carey Price was getting fucking paid by the Montreal Canadiens, but I didn't realize how big of a drop off that was. It's like Gibson was 4th with the $6 million.
6.4 was 4th, and 3rd was 9.5 Vasilevsky.
Wow,
That's a big drop.
that's a big drop. Vasilevsky well deserving of that 9. It almost hurts to see him getting paid less than Bobrovsky.
Well, yeah,
for
that's
how
just
well he
because
plays.
he did it different and just chased the bag rather
yeah.
than
Yeah.
doing it for a cup or whatever.
Mm.
But I mean, he still ended up on a Stanley Cup contending team, which is nuts.
Right.
But you ready for some league news? You want to cover Ottawa, or did you have anything else on that?
No, I got nothing really to say to that.
I'll have you take care of the Ottawa Senators, who are now for sale. You gonna buy them when you win the Powerball? $1.5 billion with a B.
You want to go in on it?
No, it's you.
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, on the
going in
Powerball?
Powerball?
You know it's like $2 for a ticket, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I'll give you $1, Matt.
I don't really play.
I don't gamble at all either.
Yeah, I don't really do that. All right, so the Ottawa Senators, who we've been talking about for the past few weeks, are on sale. If you guys want to buy them, they're currently valued at $655 million. There have been many rumors about people who with interest in the team, including Jeff York, the CEO of Farm Boy, and was born and raised in Ottawa. Roger Greenberg, a chairman for Minto and Ottawa Sports and Entertainment Group. And Ryan Reynolds, Toronto billionaire Michael and Laura. Is that how you say his name? And Laura?
And Lauer, yeah.
And Lauer. He's part owner of the Canadiens and is also interested in the Senators. The biggest curveball here is Ryan Reynolds. The only thing I saw from Ryan Reynolds is a fucking tweet that was just like,
Yeah.
kind of interested. So
Everyone blew it out of proportion.
Yeah,
He
there's no-
tweeted one emoji because someone tagged him and said, "Buy my company."
he was like, let me think about it.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no
definitely
way.
just a meme, and he responded just to get some activation. I thought it was kind of funny to see, but it got me digging too because I was like, could he actually buy it? Because he's got, I believe, Aviation Gin, and he's had a lot of
that's
success
right.
with other brands and
Yeah.
stuff. But I was like, I wonder if he could actually buy them. But no, he can't. He only has $150 million. What's the term? Oh fuck. Value?
150
Net worth. That's the
value,
one.
Net worth.
Yeah.
There we go.
Ryan Reynolds' net worth is only $150 mil, so
That's fine. He's the Deadpool we all want, But
more than I make. He
way
makes
more
than I
than
make.
both of us make. So I don't know why the hell we're talking shit. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who the Ottawa Senators go to. As we have found out with the Arizona Coyotes, ownership of a team is a huge thing. You want to own it. You want an owner that wants to represent the team, who wants to help out the team win the cup to make them playoff contending.
Doesn't Gretzky own the Coyotes?
I thought it was someone else now.
What do you think, he sold it?
I think he sold it. Yeah.
I know he owns an Arizona lacrosse team now, which is pretty cool. Arizona Coyotes owners are Alex Maruello and Andrew Barraway.
Yeah.
I bet he has like a heavy investment in them or a part ownership that's
Yeah,
kind of on the back end.
If you look up Morello, I think he owns like some car dealership. I think a NASCAR thing and something else. Like really nothing to do with fucking hockey, and just like owns the
Yeah, just
franchise.
billionaire business guy. He's Cuban American. That's pretty cool. Never
Mhm.
heard of him.
Yeah. So you want a guy that wants to help out the team instead of just like sitting there trying to get some money and not really giving a shit just as long as the money's coming in. Which
Well, at the end of the day, when you make that much of an investment, like the money's always going to come in when you spend that kind of money.
kind of cash, yeah.
But in 2009, after the Coyotes went bankrupt, Gretzky resigned as head coach and relinquished his ownership share. So that's how that ended.
Interesting.
That's nuts. I did not know that.
The more you know. But yep. So if any fans have the money and want to buy the Ottawa Senators, they're up.
Yeah, Venmo
Congrats.
me. I'll buy them.
Yep. Can you imagine a Venmo, $655 million Venmo? Think
Yeah,
that
probably
would go
probably do it in Bitcoin, anonymously, and then just own
Anonymously.
it without anyone knowing who you are.
through? Is Dogecoin's coming up?
No, dude. None of the cryptos are even working. Even Bitcoin is dropping steadily.
Oh, really?
It's like Ethereum's like the main one behind Bitcoin, but I think they're on the rise while Bitcoin is falling. But I don't keep up with this new age nonsense.
No, me neither.
It's I think it's a way to make a quick buck, but at the end of the day, like there's these massive warehouse facilities in Texas that are just a shit ton of computers that are just mining Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Which Google it, figure it out on your own because it's a lot to explain. But the computers basically just sit there and just process all day long and create so much heat and energy that they have to water cool the entire thing with a lake. So there's a pipe that goes into the lake, brings the cold water into the facility, liquid cools everything, and then goes back out as warm or hot water and back into the lake.
That's wild.
Yeah, and it's just dumb. It's just so that people can make a quick buck. And they put up these giant warehouses to mine Bitcoin.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's wild. I have a coworker that I talked to this week that he's into investing, and he asked me, he goes, "You invest?" I'm like, "Nope, I have no idea anything about investing, no nothing." He goes, then he brought up NFTs. He goes, "I never understood it in the beginning, didn't really care for it," and he goes, "It is shit in the bed right now." It's like it's pretty much, it's like,
yeah,
it's dead. Like
it would have made sense if they made it about something memorable and not just like here's a picture of this ape or gorilla, whatever that big one was, right? If they made it about like you buy a ticket to a concert, you get an NFT that's like you were here, you know what I mean? Or we give away 5 NFTs of like, I don't know, let's say Big Booty Land, like that's a pretty big event, right?
Yeah.
You buy a ticket, you're entered into a raffle for one of our 5 Big Booty Land NFTs. Only 5 people in the world get them.
Right.
Same thing with sporting events, The Bruins win the cup, you were there at Game 7 when they win the cup, you're entered into the raffle to win X amount of these NFTs, I don't know. But when they make it just here's my art, like I don't know. I think it's cool to make it an event-driven thing, or even like sports cards, like that kind of shit. I don't know. We've gone down a tangent here, but Bitcoin mining is very bad for the environment, is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me.
Well, I want to talk about goals here instead of fucking Bitcoins.
Yeah. Let's talk about the NHL average goals per game. So as of Tuesday, November 1st, the average goals per game sits at 6.3, which is a record high start to a season since 2005 and 2006.
Wow. Ironically, the same year the shootout started.
Oh, yeah. That is kind of funny.
Yep. So that is interesting. So, all right, now that we know what kind of Danny Alfredson and Eddie Belfour like that era of hockey, so it's crazy to think we've came back to that type of era of players, It's nuts.
Yeah.
Know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like
and I think
high-skilled guys.
I think like it's always been a seesaw of like goalies get better, we nerf their gear, players get better, we do this to change it. You know what I mean? Like This is the point where the skill is becoming so high that like we're getting 3rd and 4th line players that are like nasty. Like the teams that have that kind of depth where you're like, holy shit, like that guy's on their 3rd or 4th line, like that's how you know that the league is going in a good direction, and like scoring is going to go up, which is good for the league because more people watch, and it's just more of a rush, you know?
Yeah.
And
you need to be. It's like defenseman too. You're not. It's like you're not a defenseman anymore. You're an offensive defenseman. That's what these.
You're the 4th winger.
Wants. Yeah, exactly.
That's how a lot of teams are running their power play now. They'll put out 4 forwards in 1D.
Yeah.
And they'll put out like let's say like an Anze Kopitar or Patrice Bergeron as the 4th forward because they'll play 2-way and be a defenseman as well on the power play.
Exactly. So that's where all these goals are coming from. And yeah, you're right though. The skill right now is just. It's insane. You got to think about like what the skill's going to be like years from now too. If it is what it is now, imagine like later on.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know where the tipping point is, because you see a guy like Connor Bedard that's so highly sought after, Connor McDavid, single guys that come in and change an organization. Like, is there going to be a draft like 10, 20 years in the future where like they're all that fucking good, and like just having a 1st round draft pick is enough to having one 1st round draft pick at any point, like the 32nd pick, is enough to change your organization. Not change it, where I'm sorry, I'm butchering this, but
no, that's fine.
Where it won't even impact your organization because your team is that good, or everyone is that good that's getting drafted.
Like that's nuts. That's like that line. Like you have to be as good as Connor McDavid to get drafted like 20 years from now.
Right.
That's nuts. Like now it's just like you just have to be like a great player that can make it into the NHL.
Yeah.
So like you imagine like. Yeah, again, bringing back my point, just like 20 years from now, just like, well, we kind of want Connor McDavid stats. It's like, yeah.
And I also think it has to do with how the training regimen has changed. Like there's so much more focus on exactly what you're putting into your body, what you're doing daily. Like, kids are training their entire lives for this at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of it. And then, like you said, with the stat point, they want to see Connor McDavid's stats. Well, guess what? At a certain point, there's going to be that many good players that everyone's stats are going to be similar. You know, there's not going to be someone that's breaking the game that much better than the next guy. You know, but at the end of the day, someone's going to come out on top.
Right.
So, anyways, sticking to skill here, let's talk about Trevor Zegras. Did you see the mic'd up incident he had with James Reimer?
James.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, James," coming over the bench after he ran him by accident, I guess. He was actually getting into it quite a bit. He was fined $1,500 this game for slashing Matt Benning as well. Mm-hmm. But I guess he must have like skated into the crease and hit Reimer a bit. Mm-hmm. And he comes over. He's like, "Oh, hey, James." Reimer's just like, "Fuck you, kid." And he's like,
still mad I hit you?
Yeah, he's like, "You still mad I hit you? I'm like 130 pounds, you know?" It was pretty funny to see it. It was like very casual. I don't know, just classic Zegras moment. Mm-hmm. My thought process of it, though, like, he's mic'd up. He knows he's mic'd up, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if Reimer knows, but I would think not, right?
Yeah.
But what an awkward spot to be put in, right? If you know that Zegras is mic'd up, now it's like, how do you even play that? Like, I don't want to be buddy-buddy with you. You just ran me over. But, like, I can't be like, "Fuck you, kid, sit down." You know what I mean? Because you'll look like an asshole, and now everyone's going to be like, "Yo, he doesn't like Zegras?" Like, so, like, the question of professionalism comes to my mind with these guys are mic'd up. And, yes, Zegras is making his name, you know, bigger and more successful because that's what the league wants. But, like, it's kind of a weird spot to be put in. Like, if you knew that Zegras was mic'd up and he's trying to be buddy-buddy with you, like, how do you even play that? Like, you know what I mean? You can't really be a dick, but you don't want to, like, be cool with him either. You know? I don't know. Kind of weird.
It's a weird spot. I doubt Reimer knew he was mic'd up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that must mean that was kind of like definitely a casual conversation, or just how James Reimer is just in general.
But imagine how bad it would look if Reimer's like, "Sit the fuck down, kid. Don't talk to me." You know?
It'd be content and a half, though.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, there we go. Some fire right here. Especially for a young kid with James Reimer has been in the league for years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. That's like a young kid going out to like a veteran goalie.
Yeah, I think the main reason he's like buddy was because it wasn't intentional that he ran him. You know?
It was just a mistake.
Not like that Pasternak kid. Who did he hit?
Oh,
he fucking ran through him.
Ransacked him.
It almost looked like he was falling and was trying to brace himself, but he also gave it the extra.
Yeah,
you know, it was funny.
Straight into it. Damn it, I can't remember who it is.
Was it Pittsburgh goalie or no?
Oh, it was Tristan Jarry.
Yeah.
It was Tristan Jarry. Yep, that was it.
Hilarious.
Dude, Pasternak was just like, I remember seeing that in slow-mo. I was like, did he get pushed? He did just a little.
He did, but it wasn't enough to be like, boom.
There was such a gap between him and like the player behind him, and his just like, Pasternak just like right
extending,
into it.
yeah, right into him.
But that reminds me of, who did I send you? Remember the old school goalie? Was that Patrick Waugh? Or
No. Nope. I'm not going to remember who it was. It wasn't Belfort, was it?
No. Or was it Belfort? Oh no, it was Curtis Joseph. Curtis Joseph
I don't think it was.
Stick between the legs, cup check the shit out of some
players. I don't remember who it
was,
but I don't think it was him either.
Damn.
That's fucked up, though.
That's
scumbag move.
Scummy bummy, you know? But
let's stick to Boston here. You want to cover this next piece?
Yeah, let's do it. So for Jacob Lauko, did I say that right? Lauko?
Probably Jakob. When it's with a U, I assume it's Jakob.
Yako?
No, Jakob. Like, instead of Jacob, it's Jakob.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, sorry. Jacob.
Jakob.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
Nice.
Jakob Lauko scores his first NHL goal and tells media the puck is going to be given to the family of his friend Andre Puchella, who passed away from cancer 2 years ago. Lauko promised him and his family that the day he would make it to the NHL. Why did I read this wrong? Yeah, Lauko promised him and his family that he would make it to the NHL one day. Sorry, I butchered that last sentence. I lost it right there. But that is just awesome. Awesome. That's like the type of plays you bring into the league right there. Just like make it to the NHL, and then like his buddy who passed away is like, this puck, I'm gonna save it. This is the game puck, and you know, this is to his mother. This is to his friend's mother, who's just like, I promised your son I would make it to the NHL.
That's pretty cool.
This is for him, you know?
Yeah, definitely a heartwarming thing to see.
Yeah, I'm sure is like that. I think that just in general means so much to his friend's mother. I guarantee you she got it and just like was just like such like a, you know, warm-hearted type of move there too.
Yeah.
So that's awesome little story that came up from this week. I really had nothing to add to that. I just like it. Really,
just a cool little thing to throw.
It's a cool little thing to throw in there. Yeah. But
right.
talking about Toronto.
I got some little news here for you. This is nuts. So the Toronto dumpster fire has started to burn too brightly, I think. They're 5-4-2 on the season. Not too bad of a record, but that puts you in 6th place in your own division now. The media and fans are just swarming. Players are starting to feel the pressure more and more every year, which is nuts to me. Like, it's 5 games into the season, and they want someone's head. It's insane. The current rumor around the NHL is that the team's eventually going to fire Sheldon Keefe and hire Barry Trotz. So Trotz is not usually one of those guys that's at the front of the media spotlight, but he's recently been making some appearances on like podcasts and shows and stuff. And he made a comment about wanting to coach an original 6 team. He also has aspirations to become a GM down the line. So the Bruins have a new coach. The Blackhawks are pretty much set in the GM role. You know, like when you look at the original 6 teams, the only one that he could actually do would be Toronto. And they definitely kind of want to be out on Keefe, I think, because he can be the scapegoat for what's happened over the past few years. And I think if the opportunity to become GM is like placed for him, like I think it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if Barry Trotz is what's going to fix that fucking team, though.
I don't either.
He is a defensive-minded coach. He did a great job with Washington and with the Islanders. And, I mean, look what he got done in Washington. He has the resume. Like, it's worth a shot. I mean, you've tried basically everything except a defensive coach. Like,
yeah. And he was the one that was like, hey, if I come back, it's going to be original 6. Like, he thought it'd be interesting for original 16 with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, I don't know. But it's also, like, media, Toronto media shit.
Yeah, they will just come up with anything, too. Like, any crumb, thing. They're like, oh, my God, does it mean this?
Yeah, right? And I don't know.
They're like, Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews want out. Does that mean they're coming to Toronto? League minimums?
League minimums?
1.5 mil for Kane and Toews? Let's do it.
Yeah, we're gonna assume it and put it all over Toronto social media and be like, okay, well, we're gonna make everyone here look bad, but
and then the Leafs fans are just jerking it to fucking Matthews, Kane, and Toews line. Like, oh my God, yes.
Oh yeah.
Get Mitch Marner out of here.
Oh God. I don't know. Is Barry Trotz gonna come in and fix anything? I think he's done. I think he's just gonna call it quits. He did say it was just interesting to do a original 16. But
I think he's going to come back and coach. I don't necessarily think it's going to be this year, but I think if the stars align, like I think he's willing to wait it out a bit. Like he said he wants to take the year off, relax, do his own thing, right?
Yep.
So let's say an opportunity comes up this year and it's original 6, I think he'll go for it. If an opportunity doesn't come up this year, like 2-3 years down the line, once there's something there, like I think he would do it.
Give it a go.
You know, I think he'd get back into it. And I think if it doesn't work out that he coaches an original 6 team, he's definitely going to end up being a GM somewhere.
Ooh. That's a GM, really? GM role for Barry Trotz?
Yeah.
I could see it. You know what? I could see it. But it would be it would definitely be for an organization he's coached for, like an organization like they know.
He would also pick and choose. He would be like, I'm not going there. I'm not doing this one. You know, I want to go where I want to go.
Where I want to go. Yep. I think he'd do a hell of a job. I think Barry Trotz was a hell of a coach, especially in his prime, especially before he left. You know, just a great coach overall. So you can only imagine I don't know, man. Just like it's give or take. Like you could be one of the greatest players like Wayne Gretzky, but put him as a head coach, and you're like, yeah. I think Bill Guerin's doing a good job in Minnesota Wild
Steve Yzerman too.
Steve Yzerman's doing a hell of a job.
I think that's what gives him motivation for like if they can do it, I think I could do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the same thing with like a Marty St. Louis, you know, in Montreal.
Mm-hmm. I think the transition is not for all players.
You gotta have a mind for it.
You gotta have exactly. You gotta have a mind for it. You gotta be able to do it. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if Barry Trotz could do it. I feel like there's been a lot of players that tried to do it and failed, and then there's players that did the transition again, like Bill Guerin, Steve Yzerman, that tried it and just succeeded.
Know who I think would be a good GM if he put his mind to it down the line, like when he's done with his playing career?
Mm-hmm.
It's Mark Scheifele. That guy just keeps up with everything. Like he knows everything about everyone, and he loves that shit.
Yep.
So I think like down the line, if he wants to become a GM and he starts focusing on like scouting and juniors, starts off that route, like I think that guy could be a really good GM.
That's interesting. Yeah, that makes me wonder. Now I'm just thinking goalies. That makes me wonder about Jonathan Quick, like what he would do when he retires. They could just stay with the organization somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like when you're one of the last few players in the league to be, you know, an organizational guy.
Yeah.
you like
We've seen it all.
you have to transition into that because that's the number one. That's the easiest way out of a pro sports career. Like the easiest transition to a normal life is to continue, on a different route down the same career path of NHL professional hockey, right?
Yeah.
And I think with him, like I said, one of the last people to stick to just one team. I think that the door is definitely going to be shown to him, and it'll be up to him at the end of the day.
Right. One thing I do want to say though, it is kind of funny seeing these guys. Not every guy is like that. Steve Eisenman's fine, but I was watching Bill Guerin, and it's just kind of funny. These guys go from like NHL hockey player, just great, skinny, just like very athletic, and then they get to like the GM coach role. You can just see the weight just start like going up and up and up. You just
do you know what's a funny correlation too? A lot of them are bald. A lot of the not the GMs, the coaches.
Coaches are starting to
like
get
they
bald.
just start pulling their hair out like playing for teams. Like fuck.
You don't wonder how John Tortorella has hair. It's definitely a fucking wig.
Yeah.
You think so? That he fucking super close to his head before every game. It's all the stress he goes through. I doubt.
Know
That's
who the
actual head.
outlier is for coaches though about fitness is Rod Brindamore. That guy could fucking beat any of his players in the gym.
Rod Brindamore is a god. Actually, I was just watching something with Rod Brindamore recently this week. Carolina Hurricanes. They just showed him once, and I kind of paused and stared at him like, I haven't talked about this guy recently. Or when's the last time we talked about Rod Brindamore? I'm like, I kind of want to, like.
When's the last time we talked about the fucking Canes, dude? The Canes are doing good.
Canes are doing really fucking
Second in
good.
their division, 7-2-1.
Rod Brindamore gets the fucking job done. Rod Brindamore is that type of guy that just like I don't think anyone really complains about like at all. Like I'm sure he's got like a strict routine. Again, like he can out fucking perform like even his own players, but I think that just gives him respect. Like I think he doesn't command respect from his players. He just shows that what's the word? He doesn't command it.
He embodies the perfect manager because a manager will never ask an employee to do something that they wouldn't do themselves.
Right.
So he can do anything that he's asking his guys to do.
Right.
He'll get on the ice. He'll show you what he needs you to do in game, in drills, all
And
that
he'll
shit.
show you. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
And he's got work ethic out the ass. And that goes down the ladder. It trickles down to every player in the roster. Like, if Rod's in the gym at 6 a.m., guess what? You better be there at fucking 5:50.
Yep, ready to go. Yep. That's what I'm saying. I think that's what makes him such a great head coach. Is like, especially as a player, where it's like, no offense against Bruce Boudreau, but I just see this dude walk in with like some fucking hot dogs and popcorn, and here comes Rod Brindamore.
It's so funny too, hearing
him
him talk. He was giving a speech, giving out the belt, and like for the MVP for their first win. And he was swearing every other word. Every other word's like beep beep beep. Like some guys just they got a mouth and like they just don't care.
Yep.
Like, he knows that he's got to be mic'd up for something like that, and he's like fucking good win, you fucking idiots.
Rod Brindamore is just like a stand-up guy altogether, man. Just composed, very professional.
Not like Daryl Sutter had to go take a shit.
Daryl Sutter's a farm guy. That's my go-to. That's it. This is just how farm guys talk. Dude, there's a video.
That'd be a cool bar fight. Imagine seeing Daryl Sutter and fucking Rod Brindamore throw hands.
Oh, dude.
Sutter might have that.
You think so?
Sutter might have old man. He's working on a farm every summer. He might have the old man strength to take him down. Brindamore might be like that pretty boy like Jim Strong. Sutter's like farm boy strong. Like, I'll fuck you up,
See how many fucking haystacks I lifted in my day? I got your ass.
In his day, he did it fucking last week, Like, still fucking doing it, dude. It's funny.
That'd be interesting. He's too much of a nice guy, though, Daryl Sutter. But imagine a pissed off Daryl Sutter.
Dude, he is not a nice guy. He's a prick to play for. Yeah. He's one of those old school coaches.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy, but like he's dry funny. He's like he doesn't find it funny that he told you that guy has to go take a shit.
Yeah.
Like he's looking you dead in the face and not laughing.
Not laughing at all. He goes,
and you're like, what
shit,
the fuck?
The fuck? You want to know? And here's your answer. Talking about Bill Guerin though, as we're coming down here, talking about who I was watching, like, is it in the Wilds? They have a YouTube channel, Becoming the Wild, and I think it was Matt Dumba. Who's the captain for Minnesota Wild? It's Matt Dumba, right?
Could be.
So he brought him up. They having like a whole team get together thing, and Bill Guerin's just like really giving it to like Matt Dumba. It's gonna kill me. I thought it was Matt Dumba in the video, but it's really giving it to him, like literally just like, motherfucker, get over here, like do your fucking job, like screaming at him. And so Dumba comes up and he goes, boys, like, the Stanley Cup on the wall, it's like that's our go-to, and
Spurgeon's the captain. I don't know if
Spurgeon.
that helps you out.
And I think it was.
Oh yeah. He was bringing him up to talk. It was very staged and very fake though. He was. They were ripping each other.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Where are we going with it though?
I didn't know it was staged.
Yeah, it was. It had to be staged. It was
thought,
very weird.
I thought that's just how he talks to his players. And
he might, but he like in general that wasn't him being like demeaning, like swearing at him.
No.
Because when Spurgeon got up there, he was like, "Yeah, you're a fucking idiot, Bill." Like they were just like ribbing each other, but like it seemed serious. So like that's what made me think like it's kind of fake, kind of staged for like the cameras kind of thing, you know?
Interesting.
Like I think behind the door, they're like, "What if we do this?" Like, yeah, that's real funny, Bill.
I thought it was kind of like a thing that like Bill Guerin likes in players, where just like you just want players comfortable around him.
Yeah, and some coaches like to dig a little bit and get them to give it to them. Like, show me that fire. Show me that you're fucking pissed off at me. Like,
right.
Tell me to sit down and shut up. Like
John
you know?
Tortorella.
Yeah.
I was hearing some stories about that. Yeah.
But it's like a guy like Tortorella or Babcock, it's 50-50 because it's like sometimes he wants that, but other times it's like you never played another shit for me again. You really just talk to me like that?
You got to pick and choose your battles, you know?
Yeah.
Got to read in between the lines. Says like, does he want me to talk shit back to him?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that's actually, I got one more thing before we do the shot here, and one more retirement, because it just popped up here. And we haven't talked about women's hockey in a bit, and got some news here. So one of the best players in women's hockey, Evelina Rasili, has retired from professional hockey at the age of 30. Rasili represented Switzerland at 9 World Championships and 3 Winter Olympics, winning a bronze in each one. She was selected by the Boston Pride in the 2021 NWNHL International Draft, playing in 16 games with them in the 2021-2022 season and winning the Kelly Cup. She played professional hockey in Switzerland since 2007, putting up 182 goals and 369 points through 250 games played. So congratulations on your retirement.
Yeah.
And we'll do a little nip for her.
Yeah, congrats. I feel like it's kind of weird, but like where the league is just getting started, they've only been around for a few years. It's kind of weird to see someone get drafted at the age of 29 or 28,
nuts.
You know?
Yeah,
it's kind of
cool. It
cool.
seems so old.
Yeah.
But
well, not so old, but it's like we're drafting kids in the NHL at like 17, 18, you know?
That reminds me of, no, it's a lie. I'm thinking Tim Thomas.
When I was at the airport, dude, it was kind of cool. They have all the banners up in Boston at Logan for every year that they've won a championship.
Mm-hmm.
And they recently added on the very end the Boston Pride Championship.
Oh,
so they
that's
have their
awesome.
flags up too. They did have the Boston Cannons for the MLL too before they folded. So they have a couple of those up there too. I was wondering if they would even take them down because the MLL doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because they're the PLL and now they're just the Cannons, not the Boston Cannons. So I don't know.
They
I don't know
changed
how
a lot,
long they'll
really.
last, you know?
Interesting.
Because there's no room. They're literally wall to wall, like exact measurement. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, there's like literally not more fucking room. Like they're gonna have to make another row.
Jesus. We played at their academy a few weeks ago, and right before us, they had the Boston Pride. They were practicing, and I don't know who the goalie is, but I was just like, oh my god! Like she had him in like 6'4", 6'5", like Vasilevsky.
Yeah, I talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
My bad. I didn't know.
No, it's good.
But I was like, I just kind of watching her. Like she was down the butterfly the entire time. Like she seems kind of tall, and then she stood up. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So even in the National Women's Hockey League, Premier
DHF
Hockey
now,
Federation, they're looking for tall goalies.
Federation, isn't that kind of cool? Like, I like that they went with Federation
Yeah.
instead of league.
I'm part of
Make
a
it a little
federation.
different. Yeah, Federation sounds sick.
How's your pussy ass league? I'm in a federation.
All right,
So,
cheers, buddy.
cheers. All right, that was Ciroc Apple for everyone. Ugh.
Takes a while to come out of that bottle
Yeah,
because it's so long and skinny. Funny.
yeah. That took so long, like just sitting in my mouth. I was like, oh man, this is brutal. Do be like
I
that
agree.
sometimes.
I agree.
But with that said, you want to call us out?
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. If there's anything you want to see us cover next episode, let us know. Our links are in the description, and we'll see you all next week.
Check out posttopostpod.com for our merch. Bye, guys.
Peace.